Hello children. Today's topic of our session is DNA fingerprinting, or another name is DNA profiling. Now this DNA fingerprinting technique has come a long way from its initial know-how, because nowadays to analyze the whole DNA does not take days together. It is hardly couple of hours or a day or two to get the whole profile of the DNA done, and it can be used for various purposes. This DNA fingerprinting has lot of uses in case of forensic sciences, in paternity claiming issues, and even for understanding the diversity and the population genetics. So this particular technique has been developed since long, and now it is quite a good, complex, highly sensitive technique to find out or to match the DNA between the individuals. First, this DNA fingerprinting was developed by a scientist called as Ellick Jeffrey, and it was done in 1885. And the technique or the part which was used by Ellick Jeffrey was VNTRs. We call them as variable number tandem repeats. Before we go into detailed understanding what VNTRs are and how the process happens in this DNA technology, let's understand few things. Whenever we have to go for the DNA analysis, the first thing which we have to do is to isolate the DNA. And for isolation of the DNA, the property which is used is density gradient. So whether first the cell wall or cell membrane, whichever is present in the material, has to be digested, and then based on the density gradient, the DNA is centrifuged. And once the DNA is centrifuged, because of the density gradient, it attains two peaks: a bulk DNA which is having a bigger peak, and a smaller DNA which is termed as satellite DNA. As our information goes, is that the DNAs of most of the living organism, to be more specific, if we are talking about human beings, so DNA of most of the human beings are similar. Nearly 99.9% of the DNA, 99.9% of the DNA of a human being, different human beings are similar. Only there is 0.1% of the DNA which is dissimilar in all the organisms, and that makes the difference. And that is what is used in case of DNA fingerprinting to identify the individuals. What is this 0.1% difference of DNA? Basically, in the human beings, we have huge number of randomly repeated nucleotide base pairs. These randomly uh, distributed nucleotide base pairs, they occur in a particular pattern in different numbers. It can be in one chromosome 8 number, or in another chromosome it can be 10 in number, but they will be present in repeated forms. The same kind of sequences will be present again and again in different chromosomes. And this particular repeated sequences, we call them as VNTRs, that is variable number which is called as variable number tandem repeats, and this is what it is used in DNA fingerprinting. So when the DNA is centrifuged, the bulk DNA, which is similar in all the organism, is separated out. Another, that 0.1%, which is different in all the different organisms, is separated out, and it is termed as satellite DNA. When you bifurcate this satellite DNA, again this satellite DNA has two different types of DNA present. One is called as microsatellites and another one is called as macrosatellites. And what is the property on which you will be differentiating the microsatellites and the macrosatellites? Is the first, the A is to T ratio, C is to G. That means the ratio between purines and pyrimidines is taken. Second, length of the sequence is taken. And third, how many times a nucleotide base pairs are repeated. So keeping all these three properties in mind, these criteria in mind, that satellite DNA is classified as mini satellites and macro satellites, and this mini satellites are termed as VNTRs, which we are talking about, that is again variable number tandem repeats. So they help in actually the fingerprinting process. In this diagram also you can see, if you can see clearly the second diagram has ACG, then ACG, ACG. This is the repeated sequence. This is called as VNTRs, and this is similar but obvious in a human being, and it will be similar in even in the closely related human beings also. For example, if it is present in individual A and any other sample of that individual A is found from somewhere else, maybe blood, maybe skin, maybe hair, will have the same kind of VNTRs as the human body cells. That is the sure. But similarly, even as individual A is brother and individual B is brother or sister, so both of them, they will have maximum VNTRs related to each other. They will be similar in nature. So these VNTRs, they act as a marker to go for identifying of the DNAs of different human beings, how much they are related and how much they are not related. Now when we go into the methodology of how the DNA fingerprinting is done, in this case you can see the diagram, but I'll just tell the steps. First is the isolation of the DNA. Second, second will be separation of the DNA with the help of electrophoresis. Before that, even the cutting of the DNA has to take place. Then blotting on the nitrocellulose membrane. Next one, hybridization with radio-labeled VNTRs, and use of audio radiography to identify the radio-labeled VNTRs. These are the steps. Now we look into the diagram. Now the first diagram says the blood sample, okay, from a human being, some blood is collected. Then we all know bloods are made up of cell, so DNA is extracted from the blood cell. How it is done? With the help of the digestive enzymes, the cell membrane of the cells are digested out and the DNA is separated out from there, and then by using restriction enzymes. Now what are restriction enzymes? That we will be discussing in our biotechnology chapter. So in this case, using these endonuclease restriction enzymes, which are also called as molecular scissors, this DNA fragments are cut into small fragments. Then these DNA fragments are loaded in a electrose gel plate. The process is called as electrose gel phoresis. Now what is this process actually? In detail we will be starting when we go for understanding of this whole process. It is actually a base, a kind of a, you can say it's a kind of a technique in which agarose gel is used, and these DNAs are filled up at one end where small wells are there, small depressions are there where this DNA is filled up, and then the whole of this agarose gel setup is exposed to the electric field, and DNA being negatively charged will start moving towards the positive electrode, will start moving towards the cathode. Depending upon the size of the DNA, the movement will occur. So the smaller DNA will move little faster, and the bigger segments of DNA will move a little, it will move not so fast. So because of this movement, the DNA fragments will be separated from each other. So on an agarose gel, the DNA fragments will be separated. Then once you treat this agarose gel with suitable dye, you can see the this DNA fragments by using some suitable dye like ethidium bromide. And then now this agarose gel is very fragile, it is not so permanent. So by the help of nitrocellulose membrane that is kept on the top of this agarose gel, and these DNA fragments are taken into nitrocellulose membrane, and this nitrocellulose membrane then again is treated with radioactive probes so that they can go and attach to these VNTRs. And once they are attached, then the whole of this part or whole of this nitrocellulose membrane is it goes for X-ray filming, and what you can say that it goes for autoradiography, and these bands of DNA can be observed as like dark bands into the film, X-ray film, when we are going to project it out. So by doing it, for example, by doing it for one person and you do it for other person, the same process, and if those persons are interrelated to each other, they will have nearly the same dark bands present in their X-ray films after the radiography has been done. So this is all happening in the DNA profiling or DNA fingerprinting. Let us go through the slides. I'm just reading it out. DNA is isolated, extracted from cell by the process of centrifugation. That's what I was talking about, density gradient. Then, by the process of polymerase chain reaction, many copies of DNA are formed and the process is called as amplification. Now, this particular process is mostly done once the DNA is extracted, and after that, that amplification is done. Meaning, if the sample size which we are working on is very small, if we have a very small part of DNA and we have to go for the whole DNA profiling, so what we do before we go for the gel electrophoresis and cutting of the DNA, we put this DNA into suitable vectors and we try to we can say that we try to multiply the DNA. We try to increase the number of DNA. There is a technique also called as polymerase chain reaction, which is PCR. That is also can be done to increase the amount of DNA. It will amplify the DNA. It will multiply the DNA. So the material in hand will be more in amount. So once the amplification is done, then the restriction enzymes, the DNA is cut into fragments. By Agarose gel electrophoresis, DNA fragments are separated. Here in the diagram, you can see that Agarose, what you say, the Agarose system, where the wells are present, where the DNA medium is placed. By using suitable dye, DNA fragments are visualized under UV radiation. DNA is transferred to electrophoresis plate by southern blotting technique. That is what I am talking about when we put nitrocellulose membrane on top of it and try to get the DNA fragments into nitrocellulose film. That process is called as southern blotting. So, southern blotting technique is done. The third point, probes are added which binds to specific nucleotide sequences that are complementary to them, and this is called as hybridization. So, once you have obtained the DNA fragments, to the DNA fragments probes are added, and once the probes are they go and attach to the DNA fragment, the process is called as hybridization. DNA fragments are observed as dark bands by audio-radiography. That is a technique where the bands of the DNA can be observed, and so on an X-ray film we can get the bands there. Some applications, as I told, they are the tools for forensic test. They are used to settle the paternity issues, whether the individuals are related to each other or not, and they also determine the population and genetic diversity to study the evolution, which type of genetic bands are coming quite often in a population. So at which we can find out in which direction the evolution is moving. So it's a kind of a study tool also in some cases. At this point I am putting a video. Let's have a look at it.
What is DNA fingerprinting or DNA profiling? Leicester University geneticist Alec Jeffreys developed a technique called DNA fingerprinting in 1985. It allows DNA samples from different people to be compared to look for similarities and differences. It's used for solving crimes and can also confirm if people are related to each other, like in paternity testing. Any two people in the world have 99.9% of their DNA the same. So this process analyzes the differences in the remaining 0.1%. This modern technology is called DNA profiling. It's a very sensitive technique which only needs a few skin cells, a hair root, or a tiny amount of blood or saliva. There are sections or loci, of chromosomes, where instead of a gene consisting of a long sequence of bases, there are much shorter sequences of 3, 4, or 5 bases that are repeated many times. For example, these repeated sequences are called short tandem repeats, or STR. At these places on the chromosomes where we find these STRs, there are areas that vary in number of repeats. DNA profiling only looks at these STRs. A cell sample is collected. This could be from some blood at a crime scene, or a swab from the inside of someone's cheek, for example. The DNA is then extracted from the sample. Many copies of this DNA may be made using the polymerase chain reaction, or PCR. Special enzymes called restriction endonucleases are used to cut the DNA up into different size pieces. The DNA samples are then put into wells in a special gel called agarose for the process of gel electrophoresis, which separates the DNA fragments by size. The pattern is then transferred to a nylon sheet in southern blotting. And finally, the lines produced by the DNA samples from different people are compared. So let's have a go at using DNA profiles to solve some mysteries. An item was stolen in a burglary. A drop of blood was left behind by the thief. Samples of DNA were taken from 4 suspects and compared to the sample left at the crime scene. Which suspect is guilty? Here's a clue. Look for the one that is most similar to the one from the crime scene. Pause the video while you decide. Suspect 3 is guilty. Can you see how the pattern of bands matches in suspect 3 and the crime scene? Their DNA is the same. Let's try another. A soldier has been killed in an explosion and has lost his dog tags that identify him. 3 soldiers are missing from their unit, so the army asks for 3 sets of parents for a DNA sample so that they might compare it to the soldier's DNA and therefore make an identification. Remember, the soldier will only share half of his DNA with each parent. So which set of parents is the soldier the son of? Pause the video while you decide. Parents C and D. As you can see, he inherited the first band from parent D, and the second, third, and fourth from parent C, and so on. So now you understand how DNA profiles or fingerprints are made and seen some examples of where they can be used.